The Nintendo Switch has been out for over 7 years, and there's been one thing that really bothered me and has gotten worse over time. No, it's not the graphics fidelity, nor is it the frame rate performance, but rather it is the ergonomics of the Nintendo Switch. The Joy-Cons and the Nintendo Switch themselves make it very difficult to hold for long periods of time because they are flat on the back, leaving no room for you to really, well, hold it. But luckily, third-party companies have had you covered. They have come out with plenty of Joy-Con replacements that help make the Nintendo Switch a little bit more ergonomic for you to hold. But there's one Joy-Con replacement that stuck out to me. That is the Mobapad M6 HD. So Mobapad M6 HD is a very long name, so for the rest of this video, I'm just going to call it the M6. The M6 Joy-Con replacements are very unique in that it actually has feature parity with the Joy-Con's features, meaning that everything you would expect Joy-Cons to have, this controller also has, such as NFC, which is something that most controllers don't come with, as well as the ability to go ahead and wake up your Switch when it's not docked into your console, or rather when your Joy-Cons are not on the Nintendo Switch. But there's another thing that's a key feature that really got me pretty hyped, and that is the ability to have HD rumble. Most Joy-Con replacements do not have HD rumble. I've tried a bunch of them, such as the Nitro deck, as you know, and there is no HD rumble. They'll have their own like customized rotors, or rather motors, HD motors, and they're not that great. They kind of sound like they're like something's dying or something like that, and they're just not that good, or rather not on par with the Joy-Con's HD rumble. Now the M6 controllers do have HD rumble, meaning that if you play something like Super Mario Bros. Wonder and do the levels where you can actually feel the Joy-Cons rumbling and it kind of makes music out of it, you will be able to do that with the M6 controller, which is really cool. And once again, something most third parties don't have. Honestly, with that alone, I feel like I could just end this video and just say, get the M6 controllers. But there's a lot more going on with this that Joy-Cons don't have. So let's go ahead and start off with the specs of the controller and just really the feel of it overall. Now, when it comes to the specs of the controller, it's gonna have everything you will want it to have when it comes to the Joy-Cons. You have your A, B, X, Y buttons, your L, your R, your ZL, ZR, 2 thumbsticks, and a D-pad, as well as your home button, capture button, your plus and minus button, which I still refuse to really call them that. I'll still continue calling them start and select, but you have those buttons as well. There are also some setting buttons there which allow you to go ahead and do things like turbo mode, for example, or to go ahead and set the macro buttons that are on the back of the controller. And when it comes to the thumbsticks are Hall effect sticks, meaning technically speaking, you should not get any drift whatsoever when it comes to the M6 controller, which is really cool. The other thing I really like about these controllers is there is a metal ring around it, making it a little bit smoother when you're actually rotating the thumbsticks, and the thumbsticks themselves just feel really good. They are a little bit bigger compared to the Joy-Cons, which for me, I don't mind. I do feel like the Joy-Cons thumbsticks are just very, or rather a little bit too small for my liking, where my fingers will kind of slip off, but these are actually perfect. There are 2 types of D-pad on the controller. You have one that's more like, I guess, I don't know what you would call it, more like a dome looking thing, or like a circular unit, similar to what the Xbox Series X and S controllers have, which at first I didn't think I was going to be a fan of, but I really do like the way it feels. The other thing about these buttons is they have a clickiness to it, which gives you a little bit more precise, I guess, movement, you would say, or more input, which I really do like. The downside to that is it is pretty loud. So when it comes to clicking those buttons, yes, it will be pretty loud. The clickiness does extend to all the buttons. The A, B, X, Y, L, R, ZL, and ZR also have that clickiness, which I believe is because they are actually using mechanical switches, or rather the mechanical switches that mouses uses, which is why you get the same type of click. And technically speaking, they're supposed to be more accurate and less input latency. Now, I'm not a guy who really measures that type of thing. I can usually feel it when I'm using it, such as when I was talking about the Nixie Wizard. I really did feel the input latency when using that controller. But when it came to the M6 controller, I really didn't feel any of that, which is actually pretty cool because it actually just works. It feels great. Now, the clickiness is a little bit loud, like I mentioned, and depending on if you're sleeping with somebody else or if you have other people in the room or you're just in a public area, yeah, that might get kind of annoying and some people might look at you all funny. But other than that, I really do like the controller and the feel of the buttons overall. Now, if you don't like the dome style D-pad, you can also go ahead and swap it out for just a regular style D-pad, which does come in the box, which is pretty cool. So it kind of gives you two different options, and I really do like that they do that. The other item that's in the box is the ability to swap out the face plates. So by default, when it comes to your thumbsticks, really it's just that smooth circular movement that you can use for the thumbstick. But if you wanted to feel more, I don't know, I guess you would say more like, I guess, arcade type, where it will snap to different cardinal directions, you can go ahead and swap out the face plates where it has a little indents there, so you can easily go ahead and snap it between those directions. I'm personally not a real big fan of that style, but if you do prefer that, that option is in the box, which I do think is pretty cool that they're giving you options on how to use this controller. The controller does not have any USB-C ports, meaning there is really no way for you to go ahead and charge the controller outside of the Switch. The way you would charge the controller is you go ahead and dock it onto the Switch, and of course, while the Switch is docked, it will charge, or also while it's attached to the Nintendo Switch, it will also charge. As far as battery life goes, it does boast a very long battery life. I personally have yet for it to run out of battery, which I really do like. Now, according to the specs, they do say that you will get about 15 hours of battery life. I mean, I haven't really played it for 15 hours straight, so I assume they're right. Typically, once I'm done using it, I usually put it back on the dock. But like I mentioned earlier, really when it comes to using it, I have no issue with the battery. Not really, at least. Now, I say not really because there is a minor issue that's happened every now and then, and I did experience the same issue with the Nixie Wizard controller. And that is sometimes when it is connected to my Nintendo Switch, for whatever reason, the Nintendo Switch won't really recognize it, or rather it won't charge it. So I would have to go ahead and undo the Joy-Con and put it right back in, and that would kind of fix the issue. And I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Part of me is starting to feel that maybe it's my Nintendo Switch that's having this issue, because both the Nixie Wizard and the M6 controller had that same issue. I'm not too sure if maybe it's just those controllers themselves, or is my Switch, because I do not really have that issue when it comes to the Joy-Cons, so it's kind of hard to say what it is. But that's really the only minor issue I've had. Other than that, it seems to work great, have no issues with the battery, it just works flawless. Now, as far as battery drainage when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, I will say that it does drain a little bit quicker than the Joy-Cons themselves, but nowhere near as much as, say, the Nixie Wizard. I did mention with the Nixie Wizard controller, pretty much after a day, you were down by almost half the battery. When it comes to this, I'll say in standby mode, you're getting that normal drainage, while during gameplay, you get it a little bit more. The games that I tested it on were like Echoes of Wisdom and Super Smash Brothers, and yeah, it was a tad bit more, but not too noticeable, in my opinion. Or rather, I should say, not that it's not too noticeable, but not something that I feel was a deal breaker to me. Now, let's talk about the most important thing, is the feel of the M6 controller. It feels really, really good. On the back of it, you do have some grooves here that make it easier to kind of hold in place, which also is that back button as well. And that back button does not really get in the way. I haven't had any accidental presses for that back button at all. As far as holding it, it feels very, very comfortable, especially when you're laying in bed. Like I mentioned in my previous videos, most of my game time is done in bed right before I go to sleep. And what makes something like a handheld stick out to me is really the ergonomics and how I can hold it while laying in bed. When it comes to the M6 controller, I feel it is very, very comfortable. It honestly makes my gaming experience a lot more enjoyable. I don't get tired after an hour, which is something that would happen with the original Joy-Cons. I really do like how my hands fit on it. My thumb rather, will go over the thumbsticks really good. And like I said, because the thumbsticks are a little bit bigger, it's just a lot easier for me to hold overall. Now, when it comes to pressing the D-pad, I do feel that if you move your left hand just a little bit, you will get a kind of, I don't know, I would say something that feels natural feel when it comes to holding the D-pad. You do have to position your hand a little bit lower than normal, but other than that, it still doesn't really throw the Nintendo Switch or the M6 off balance, which is actually really, really cool. and it does feel good in my hands. Now, if you do decide to pick up the M6 controller, the one thing you do have to know is because the controller itself is bigger than the Joy-Cons, hence why it's more ergonomic, none of the cases they use for the Nintendo Switch, or rather none of the official cases, will work with the Nintendo Switch. Luckily, Moba does go ahead and sell a case that you can use with the M6 Joy-Cons. I just happened to order mine with the case. There was actually a pretty good deal on AliExpress. When you use Klarna, you got $20 off. So I went ahead and used that and was able to get the case, which basically came out to the same price if I just went ahead and purchased the M6 by itself. Really good deal, recommend doing that. But anyways, when it comes to this case, it's really nice looking. It does feel pretty sturdy. It does feel like it will protect the M6 controller. The M6 controller with the Nintendo Switch fits perfect in there. There are also spaces for games on there. Now on the underside, there's like this big rectangular area, and at first I didn't really know what it was for, and I don't know if it's just like empty space just to kind of put a little bit of, I guess, extra like air pockets, or I don't know what you would call that. There's an extra space between the Nintendo Switch and like the edge of the case, so like there's no type of like vibration when you drop a case or anything like that. But what I did decide to do is go ahead and put my Nintendo Switch game cards like slots or cases in there, and they actually fit pretty perfect. I'm able to fit 4 game cases in there, and yeah, it's pretty solid. I can carry a lot of games in there, and as well as on the front you do have space for that. Now I have more than 4 game cards cases, so I need a little bit of more of that, but I'm trying to look around for some better type of game card cases where I can hold more than just 4 at a time, so I can fit all my games, because I have a lot of physical games that I carry around with me. That being said, it's not like I really go ahead and play all those games at one time, but it's one of those things that you never know what game you would want to play. So I just like carrying all my games at one time, because who knows, I might be in the mood for something that I have not played in years and want to go ahead and pick that up and play there, and you know, it just happened to be the one time that I didn't bring it with me. So pretty sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, overall, I think the Mobapad M6 HD controller is actually really good, and probably my favorite Joy-Con replacement. Actually, I won't say probably, I'd say it is. I am very happy I purchased this controller. Very excited to continue using it, and I'm even more hyped because Xenoblade Chronicles X just got announced, and I'm so excited for that game. I can't wait for that to come out next year. Yeah, I know that's not really what the video is about, but I had to mention that. The M6 controller is $80 directly from their website. If you want to go ahead and get the case along with the controllers, you're looking at around $96 for that, and that's of course without taxes. If you go ahead and order it from AliExpress, you can do what I did and basically get that coupon plus that $20 discount when you use Klarna, and you can get both the case and the Joy-Cons for around $80 just for those things, which I do think is a really good deal. Not only that, turnaround time for them shipping it to me, it took, I want to say 2 days. It quoted me like about a week for me to receive it, but I did receive it within 2 days, which was pretty awesome. Definitely wasn't expecting it to get here that quick. Anyways, let me know what you think about the M6 controller. Does this review got you a little bit hyped? Do you want to go ahead and buy it? I know it's really late into the Switch cycle, and honestly, a lot of people are pretty much saving up their money and getting ready for the new Nintendo Switch that will more than likely be announced next year. Well, not more than likely, that will be announced next year because it's already been said. But for me, there's still a lot of great Switch games that I still want to finish up, and my biggest deal has been the ergonomics of the Nintendo Switch, which is why I haven't used it as much. When it comes to my other handhelds, such as the Steam Deck and now the ROG Ally X, as well as my little handheld emulators that I have, they feel a lot more ergonomic than the Nintendo Switch, and I'm able to play with those for a lot longer than the Nintendo Switch. But I'm glad that I picked this up. Now I can go ahead and finish games like Echoes of Wisdom or any other game like Octopath Traveler 2 that I have not finished. I do like that I can just hold it and play with it for a long period of time. But not only that, the quality of the controller is really good. The face buttons feel good. The Hall effect thumbsticks are always a game changer. I've said this plenty of times before. If you have not purchased a controller that has Hall effect thumbsticks, or if you haven't modded a controller and modded it with Hall effect thumbsticks, I highly recommend you doing that. The Hall effect thumbsticks just have a different feel versus regular thumbsticks. Not exactly sure what it is. I know it's on magnets and that makes it more or rather less likely to have drift, but there's something else about it. I don't know if it's like better accuracy or just better movement overall. There's just something about Hall Effect sticks that I just really like, and really like the feel of it. That and the metal rings around where the thumbsticks are also help out. It gives you like that little glidey feeling when you're moving the thumbsticks. It just feels very smooth. But yeah, let me know if you're interested in M6 controller. If you don't have the M6 controller, what Joy-Con replacement are you using and why? Why do you love those? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Appreciate everybody who has come and watched my videos and who's also joined me for my streams. Don't forget, I do stream twice a week, Thursday and Friday. Thursday is typically our group stream where I'm joined by FanXY and Ash and Friday is my solo stream where I just stream whatever I feel like playing on that day. And every Sunday we do have the Random Encounter podcast where I'm joined by Bryant, FanXY, and Ash and we talk about whatever is going down in gaming that week. Thanks for watching. My name is James. I'll catch you guys next time.